We're over here in Baja, California, Pete's Camp, San Felipe. We're here with Roy. We're gonna go over the Canyon Narrow.
I mean, to me, it's a tool. Well, there's a couple parts that are just for style points.
Hey guys, we're over here in Baja, California, Pete's Camp, San Felipe. We're here with Roy. There he is right there. We're gonna go over the Canyon Narrow. I firsthand got to see this thing in action and riding it yesterday for the first day of pre-running, and it was freaking amazing. I don't think we've ever featured a truck like this on the channel. What made you want to build this thing?
It wasn't really I wanted to, I just, I needed to. To me, like the pre-runners, I mean, it's a tool. In Mexico, you get one lap on the course, right? So we did it for years where we wouldn't pre-run and we would just come down here and race, and it was just like it's rough. The first lap's your pre-run. So you're always, you're figuring out like, oh, hey, cool, we can, push through here. This is a dangerous section. We're gonna get stuck through here.
Right.
It's much better to come pre-run. I mean, to me, it's a tool. So this thing definitely gets used. It gets beat up. There's nothing. Well, there's a couple parts that are just for style points.
Well, I think what's crazy is when you look at this truck, it looks great. But the thing is, I think what's different about it is like, I think it's deceiving. You look at it, it looks kind of like it doesn't look as aggressive as it does. Some of the stuff we were going through yesterday, you guys would just break a lot of people's vehicles in halves. No! Jesus Christ. Seeing the Canyon Narrow go through that stuff, being in it, feeling it, it was wild. It blew my mind. Like Roy kept saying, oh, the shocks don't feel as good as they used to because, I guess earlier through Zoo Road, they were going really hard. And you said you were like in juggernaut mindset, right?
Oh, dude, I'm ruined because, driving the Juggernaut all weekend at Prim. Yeah, you don't check up for stuff in the Juggernaut. Juggernaut requires commitment, and it requires that thing to just be completely flat.
So real quick, Roy came from Prim. Last week, we were talking about coming here earlier in the weekend and then coming out and pre-running. And I guess we all kind of forgot that Battle at Prim was coming up. So Roy was like,
well, no, we didn't forget.
What happened?
I wasn't even planning on racing Prim.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
And that was it?
No. I was planning on, we were going to do Mid 400. We had 3 weeks from Mid 400 to San Felipe, which is sufficient time to get everything prepped for the 6100, for Prerunner, for everything. Come down, a week early, get some good pre-running in. The weekend before Prim, Ronnie calls me and he says, hey, you want to race Prim? And I can't say no. So we went out to Prim, ran the Juggernaut, and Sunday we finished the race. I drove the truck from the finish line straight onto the trailer, loaded everything up, and drove down here, which was a mistake. That was not a good idea. We got here at 5:30 in the morning. Yeah. And
straight from Prim to San Felipe. What is that? 12 hours?
I don't know if it's 12. I mean, it's like 3.5, 4 hours from Prim to the shop, and then it's like 5 hours down here. So yeah, close. 10, 12, 9, 10 hours, 11. It was not. Either way, it wasn't a good idea.
Roy forgot to mention that he won because he's a humble guy. He won Battle at Prim. Just want to throw that in there.
I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellent.
Let's hop into the Canyon Narrow, man. So again, this is a special truck, dude. We haven't featured something like this on the channel yet. And again, this truck looks awesome, it looks clean, but then you don't realize how this is such a beast, man.
There's a big difference between, it'll probably offend people, but
say it.
I don't think you can actually call your truck a pre-runner unless there's something different about an actual Mexico pre-runner.
Right, there's like Ocotillo pre-runner, and then there's like race course
Well, there's
Mexico.
a Baja Prerunner is definitely, it's a special, it's like a certified thing.
It's kind of like going through plaster, or like, you know, even going through Barstow. Some of those sections, it really humbles you and realizes like, oh, okay, well, my truck looks cool, but you know, here's some things I got to do to make it more.
Well, that's, I mean,
capable.
That's what I'm saying. Even going down Barstow, Maine, like it ain't like Baja.
Thug life. Okay, so take us through this thing, man.
This general rundown on this truck. So it's a 2005 GMC Canyon. It's got the 5-cylinder inline motor.
5-cylinder.
It's
yeah.
Down here, I'm really into keeping this thing as stock as possible in the powertrain department. The power, I don't know. It's a hard one because it's nice. It's definitely nice having horsepower, but at the same time, longevity-wise and just
suspension.
You know, it's more important that the suspension works good. The power is just gonna break stuff.
Yeah.
Over time, it's just gonna break stuff, tear up tires.
How much horsepower do you think's in this thing?
I don't know, never done it. The motor I think is rated at 180 or 190.
Did you design this kit?
No, this is actually a kit from the Real Dirt Design, Steve Fike up
Yeah.
there, like Pismo area. So my original plan was I was gonna build a kit for this, but after seeing that Steve made a kit for this that retained 4-wheel drive, it was kind of like a no-brainer to just get the kit from him.
Yeah.
So luckily I got it from him. I liked it because it had the shock towers and everything, like the upper control arm mounts, the shock towers, all this stuff's kind of built in, and it was easy, you know?
Hell yeah.
Just put all that stuff together on the bench and then just plug it into the truck. The front end, the geometry is flawless. Everything is, it's great. It's really good.
How much wheel travel do you have on this thing in the front?
The front cycle's 15 inches of travel. That's one thing. I don't know if I'm ever gonna change it, but it's not like a big Prerunner, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's a small truck. It's got limitations. The front shocks are 8-inch stroke, so they're very small.
8-inch stroke.
Wow. Very, very
Dang,
small.
yeah,
Very,
when I
very
found that out yesterday, I was like, what? Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
I stuffed a 3.0 in there. I got the fin reservoirs, so that definitely helps, but they still...
It's still an 8-inch shock,
after
yeah.
after about 20 minutes of pushing down Zoo Road, they definitely fade. I had those light racing jounce shocks on there for the bump stops. I just put those King bump stops on there, and they were huge upgrade.
Wow, man.
Huge upgrade. So the bigger oil volume is kind of...
Is where it's at.
You just can't really argue with, like it's, you know, there's no replacement for displacement.
His powder coat's holding up pretty good, I'm
That's
sure,
not
after
powder
all
coat.
these years, huh?
That is not powder coat.
That's not powder coat?
No, that is straight gloss winter gray from Home Depot Rust-Oleum.
Rust-Oleum!
That was, I don't know, Jerry Larimore, that was his favorite spray paint color.
Dude, I loved Rust-Oleum. I used to use that on the truck all the time, man. And then you touch it up, psst, brand new.
Perfect. Well, that's what he called it. He called it new in a can. I don't know. I always liked that color. That's all the stuff on the Juggernauts painted that gloss winter gray.
I mean, look at this thing. Dude,
So-
is it cool to pop the hood?
Yeah, I probably need to check the oil anyways.
Might as well. Looking good, dude.
Okay, there it is. That's the old inline 5. I blew up one of the 3.5s. So the original, like the first gen Canyons had a 3.5 in it. They changed a bunch of stuff to a 3.7. So this is one of the 3.7 motors. It's just, I mean, they did like slight, like minor changes to it. The main one being the obviously displacement, but they fixed a bunch of stuff in the cylinder head and the oiling system because I've blown up 3 of these things now, and they're
3? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're not great motors, but
How long? How
it's
long
in
have
there.
you been
I got
able
a couple
to
years out of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is down here, I mean, it's a hard life for a motor down here.
Dude, you're pushing the crap out of this thing.
Silt, like I'm constantly overheating them, just ripping, I mean, the silt, the sand, everything, it's just super hard. I mean, just living in this environment, it's dirty, dusty. I mean, here,
Everything.
let's check. Oh, see that? Even this one, that thing's been drinking.
Look at this structure, you guys. Damn.
I just, I just put these bump stops in, and I was so stoked because I made a little threaded receptacle for the light racing jounce shocks, and they threaded into this cup right here, right? So I cut all that stuff out. I was gonna make a nice tool with like a boring type cutter to cut it out nicely, but I ended up, we did this like Wednesday last week. So I just took the plasma cutter and blew that thing out, and took the die grinder, cleaned it up, and those bump stops slid straight into there. I notched a new tube, and that was it.
So she's thirsty?
Well, these GM i5s, this is what I call a party motor, right? You know, because it
Likes
just
to drink.
it drinks a little, it smokes a little. Like the big thing I've done on this, the stock rack in here, upgraded that from the 2005 rack that I broke 3 of those in half.
Oof.
But the casting wasn't very strong, so they changed it in 2007 to a much like thicker heavier casting.
Okay.
So it's got an 07 rack in it. I put a TC power steering pump in it from Charlie. It bolted right up to the bracket. I took the old pump off, bolted the new one on, and I just had to get a pulley that fit it. So I built that little power steering reservoir. If you look in here, there's a little tiny power steering cooler. Yeah, I just built that little reservoir. There's a cooler on there. I mean, standard stuff.
There's a cooler in there.
Canadian filter.
We got Baja designs over here. You got the valance in the front, and dude, these are sick.
That's one of my plans. Is once these things get kind of beat up and kind of busted, I'm gonna strip all this powder coat off, and I'm gonna get these things polished.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be bad.
Nice, dude.
My favorite part is definitely these little snap-in GMC hubcaps.
Love it, dude. And then, are you running stock brakes?
Yeah, stock brakes up front, dog.
Let me tell you, after riding in this thing yesterday, it blew my mind. And he kept saying, "Oh no, it's not doing as good as it did, dude." I've been blessed to be able to ride in a lot of trucks, and this thing impressed me like crazy, man.
The magic is definitely all back here because the back of this truck handles phenomenally. The rear suspension on this thing, I had my buddy Gatlin at Haddon Racing draw all this stuff up for me. Did these basically like a fabricated frame rail. I cut the the frame off. You can see that's where the frame's cut off right there. So we integrated, like I cut the frame off right here, and this is all a fabricated frame rail from their back. Okay. So I integrated like these pivot boxes. All this stuff was laser cut, CAD designed. I built all that stuff on the bench. And just plugged it onto the truck. Gatlin's got a bunch of other back half kits, frame rails, stuff like that. He's a very good CAD guy. I basically gave him all the dimensions, geometry, and all that stuff that I wanted, and he drew up everything on here.
Yeah, so, Gatlin knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, Gatlin's very good. It made it so easy because this stuff, literally, like the fuel cell carrier tubing, that came in a little crate, just all pre-notched. There's no bends in it. It's, just all pre-notched straight tubing. Trailing arms came on a little pallet. Everything was just pre-cut, pre-formed, and it was so easy to put this thing together. A lot of up travel. The rear makes 25 inches of wheel travel. That's just 2.5, 3.0 shocks. I mean, it's all little stuff because this is a little truck.
How big is this tank?
It's a 40-gallon cell.
Okay.
This truck had a 17-gallon gas tank to start with, and there was a lot of times down here. It's not a good feeling being out of gas in Mexico, especially being 100 miles out in the middle of the desert. When we used to pre-run, I mean, this truck had a stock bed and everything on it when we used to pre-run, and I had basically like my toolbox, bunch of spares, and a couple of 5-gallon gas cans strapped down in the back. So the 40-gallon cell was
the way to go.
Very, very nice upgrade. And that's another thing about the motor on this thing. Dude, pre-running yesterday, we got 8 miles to the gallon in this thing.
Yeah.
So with a 40-gallon cell, I mean, that's like, we're almost a 400-mile range.
Yeah.
So this thing topped off right now. We should be able to pre-run the whole rest of the course. And I mean, I got a trailer now, so I don't have to drive this thing home anymore. But
right.
I could drive it home if I wanted to.
And you guys have done that kind of stuff before?
We, at the Baja 1000 this year, I drove it all the way from my house, pre-ran the entire course, all the way down to La Paz, and then drove it home. Damn! Which was not a good idea.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't recommend it. It was scary. It was very scary.
You're running the Optimas back here?
Yeah, I just got two batteries back there, a little tiny trans cooler, that's storage pump setup. This was one of the best upgrades on this whole truck. I had my buddy Chris Missoula cut this thing out for me. The cab was just always full of crap, and it was always, every time it was like, we'd rummage through the shop and be like, oh, what are we bringing? Would go grab this, go grab this, and there'd just be like just junk everywhere in the inside of the truck. So I made this nice little storage bin, all of my spares, everything just lives in here. It's a dedicated pre-runner. So, there's
the Mexican blanket.
It's just, oh, that thing is crucial for working stuff out in the desert.
Absolutely, the freaking cactus.
Crucial. Lay that thing down and you're styling.
Dude, checked under the Prerunner yesterday. I was like, oh cool, let me just check under. It looks like this. Freaking cactus needles all in my hands. I was ah.
Oh, it hurts! Oh, I got, just a bunch of tool bags in there.
Nice, man.
Impact, spares. I got, this truck, there's a spare rack, a spare power steering pump, spare alternator, I got
the necessities.
Spare hub, spare rotor. There's spare stuff on deck.
And then these are your trailing arms, right?
Yeah. I designed the trailing arms. I had Gatlin draw them up in CAD and get them laser cut out.
We didn't talk about these 37s. So how do you like these 37s, dude?
Love them. I love these tires. They are amazing. I probably shouldn't be running these on this truck because these are a UTV tire.
Oh, I thought it was a buggy rated tire. Okay. When you say UTV, do you mean is this what some of the Baja guys run, or is this sort of like a rock crawler?
Well, these Tensors, it's a race tire. I mean, there was questions because this truck, they just said that the truck was on the heavier side for the tires rating. But I got some used takeoffs, ran those for a long time, put some miles on them. I mean, they were clapped, but they, you know, like I put probably close to 8,000 pre-run miles on those tires.
Whoa.
So they, you know, they lived. It's one of those things too. The low power of this truck, like it doesn't
kind of keeps
it
right,
keeps the thing alive.
You want to take us through the inside of this thing real quick? All right, dude.
So I caged this thing, what was that, 2 years ago before the 1,000? It was one of those things where we're just, I mean, it was like crunch time, got to get it done. I did this cage in basically 2.5 weeks before the 1,000. I'd work on the 6100 from, you know, whenever till about 5 or 6 at night. And then from that time to, I don't know, midnight, 2 in the morning, I'd work on this thing. But I think the cage in this thing is probably the best cage I've ever done in my entire life. This is one tube all the way up, all the way out to the back. You know, like normally sometimes you'll have to cheat it and, you know, like
sleeve it or something.
Sleeve so you get the rotation just perfect. But this one, like look at, I cut this channel out, this tube here, like I bent that thing and it just popped into place. And I had to, there's marks on here. I had to take a pry bar and pop it out.
Built this thing?
Yeah, I made that console. Got the switch pros here, battery switch, scan gauge so I can reset the ECU when it flips out because it does not like this setup that we got going on.
Most importantly, no lames.
Yeah.
No lames. We got the Lawrence right here.
Yeah, gotta have a GPS in the Prerunner.
Hey guys, Black Hat here. We're down in Mexico and we've been tracking our progress. We're gonna be marking some points of interest along the trail with the Onyx off-road app. If you guys like what you see and you wanna download the app, make sure to use code Terra Crew and get 20% off your subscription. It makes it really, really easy. It's not very expensive in the first place and an extra 20% always helps because we're here for you and we want you guys to enjoy the things and use the stuff that we use because it's good. We don't mess with companies that don't make good products. Once again, the code is Terra Crew at checkout when you guys buy a subscription to Onyx Off-Road and it's 20% off. Anyways, back to the episode.
The inside of this thing's pretty basic. I wanted to keep the stock dash. I mean, it's got AC vents and everything in it.
Baby on board? So you bring your kids in here, right?
Well,
sometimes? This backseat swaps out or something, right?
So yeah, the back seat here, I built this thing as a 3-seater. There was room to do, I mean, I could have shoved the seats over and do a 4-seater, but the leg room sucks. You're looking at the back of somebody's head all day. And then I wouldn't have room for my ice chest back there.
I love how you have all these things for the oils over here.
Oh yeah.
You know?
You gotta carry spare juices. I mean, I got just, you know, little bags full of crap everywhere. That one's got all the window cleaning supplies in it. James was out there cleaning the windows yesterday.
I was cleaning the hell out of those windows yesterday, man. Sparkling.
So basically, this seat comes out.
Okay, so this comes out.
And I made a little platform back here that bolts into the same mounts, but it holds, like I just made a little, like a rail on it. And I just take a tie down, like I can just strap the kid seats, like their car seats back there.
Yeah.
So I can either have a 3-seater or I can have a 4-seater with the 2 kid seats in the back.
Yes.
I actually pre-ran King of the Hammers this year with the 2 kid seats in the back.
How they like it?
Oh, they're having a good time.
That's awesome,
they were
man.
just laughing and...
Well, this thing's so dang smooth. I believe it, man.
So this is actually the steering wheel that came out of my Pikes Peak car. I think that's the only item that's in this entire truck for style points. Yes! It's funny because this was like a $400-something JDM steering wheel. Well, it was made by the same company that makes like Nardi and Momo and everything. Personal was like the, I don't know, it was just old school JDM stuff. This is like, if you notice, like the steering wheel is like a real flat kind of stockish steering wheel. They don't run a whole lot of dish. So when I made the steering column on this, I had to make this little adapter. I sent that.
Looks like a chalice.
I sent it to the homie Hernan at Engrave It. They had him engrave and chrome it, and that thing is
sick. Love it, dude. That's bad.
I'm actually waiting on another one. I made this adapter for all my. I got the intercom and horn buttons on the steering wheel there. That one's in process right now. So.
Heck yeah! And then we got the PCI.
Yeah. Gotta have headsets. Gotta have intercom, radio, all that stuff. That's just standard equipment.
Excellent. All right, man. Well, thank you, dude. Thanks for sharing this thing with us, man.
Right on.
All right, guys, time to get back on the course. Roy, thanks for taking us through this thing, man. This thing's awesome. Hopefully this inspired you guys to try to build something different or just freaking build something that's purposeful, that works. And we can't wait to go get some more bangers at this thing today and eat some more tacos and find some fruit stands.
Oh, Frutero, man.
Frutero. Later, guys. Take care.
Viva Mexico.
You boys like Mexico?